Deputy, Janice, fellow commissioners, officers, and the public. This is the Monday, October 21st meeting, regular meeting of the Woodbridge Board of Police Commissioners. And I'd like to, before we get formally started, as it's a regular meeting, ask to add a new agenda item under new business, and that would be an update on police support to the election process, given that we have the new early voting as well as, of course, election day. So hopefully, if there's no objection from anybody, we'll add that to the agenda. All agreed? No objection?
No,
okay. So first order of business is asking for approval of the minutes of our prior meeting, which was a special meeting on September the 26th.
I'll move it. Second. Move the minutes.
So it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or addition, correction to the minutes as written?
No.
If none, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Abstention? Minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is a public comment. Anybody here for public comment on the police commission meeting? No? Have there been any correspondence, Janice?
Not this month.
Not this month. Okay. So we'll move right along to the review of reports. Chief, I'll turn to you, and Deputy on financial and activity report, please.
Okay, so currently we're approximately 3.5 months into the new fiscal year. As of last week on the 15th, we're at 26.5%, which was expended, so we're right on target. Actually, just a sheer below where we should be at this time, so we're doing good. As far as overall with the budget, a few funding lines that I just want to bring to your attention. Again, 2 of them we discussed last month, and they still remain challenging as we move forward. You know, obviously the first one is that 50430, the police overtime line. We're at just over 43%, and that continues to be associated with our personnel vacancies and the workman's comp extended absence. And the other one that I also discussed at last month's meeting was 53520, the vehicle repairs and maintenance. We're up to 63.3% on that. Like I mentioned, just that associates with our older vehicles getting higher mileage and resulting in more repairs, some of which in the last couple of weeks since we met have been unanticipated, and they were pretty costly. We had one car that needed a bunch of work, water pump, timing chain, etc., and that one was over $3,000, and that's one of the older cars. It's a 2015 with 124,000 miles, and then we have another vehicle. There's a 2012 Taurus that we have with over 173,000 miles, and that work for that car at the dealer was just shy of $2,000, and we just had another car that had work done for $1,300. So all those are going to keep, those are in addition to our normal routine maintenance, and so that's just really jacking that line up for us.
What's the total number of vehicles?
Total number of vehicles, 10, I believe 16 altogether, 10 patrol
And is there scheduled replacement? I thought we've talked about this before. So I thought that after a certain number of miles and a certain number of
Yes.
idling time.
Right. Well, that was the process. We had a replacement cycle that we kind of adhered to, but with funding keeps getting reduced, so that cycle keeps getting diminished more and more. And so last year we only approved for one car. I think the year before, one car. Before we used to go 3 cars, then 2, the next year 3, 2, then it got cut to 2, 2, and then 1 every other year. And then it got cut to 1, and so that now we're paying the price is catching up to us for that. So. And then just one other line I want to bring to your attention, that 53510, that's repair, maintenance, and machinery, that's up to like 66%. And that had to do with our aging DVR unit that controls all the facilities. Cameras, the inside cameras, the outside cameras, the cell block, the booking area, etc. That failed and it was beyond repair and had to be replaced. So that was between the equipment and the service was approximately $2,000. But other than that, those are the notable changes since last month's report.
Building on Debbie's question about the retirement schedule for vehicles, is it accurate to say, Chief, that the patrol vehicles get much heavier use and go through a recycle much sooner than the administrative vehicles? Or?
Yes, they do. And so some years we don't replace administrative vehicles at all, sometimes for 2 years. It's just the replacement, it's mainly what's hurting us is the replacement of the patrol vehicles, not sufficiently, not timely enough.
And you may not know this, but off the top, but just be curious to know sort of like what's the average age of patrol vehicles at this time, and what's the average mileage?
I have to say there's
Probably.
I have to get back to you with that, but there's
Sure.
no, but there's some, like I said, I think the oldest one is a 2012, and then last year we got one new car, so there's one 2023, and there's another 2023 that was for fiscal year 24, which is on order. So it's ranged between that and the miles, some are just under 100,000, but the mechanic was just commenting that almost very shortly, the majority of the cars are going to be well over 100,000 miles, so that's what he's concerned about. Because now a lot of the repair work and all the electronics and stuff requires that it goes to the dealer. Some of this stuff is not able to be done here ourselves, so that even makes it more costly for us. And that's all I have for the financial report.
Any further questions? Dennis, do we approve it separately? So I'd seek a motion to approve the financial report as presented by the Chief. Chris, thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Andy. Any discussion? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Thank you.
And moving on to the activity report.
Okay, so I'll start with the criminal activity report. So amongst the incidents that were listed in the monthly statistical report for last month that you received, some items of significance that I want to stress or bring to your attention. We had two burglaries. One was occurred on Highview Drive at a residence during the nighttime hours, in which perpetrators, after rummaging through a vehicle in the driveway, they accessed the remote control to the garage and were able to get into the garage. So that occurred during the nighttime hours, and the other burglary occurred at a commercial establishment on Lower Litchfield Turnpike, where a window was forcibly entered and a computer was stolen during the overnight hours. Officers responded to 4 family disputes, 2 of which resulted in arrests. We had 3 fraud investigations, 2 of which were online transactions. There were 9 larcenies from motor vehicles during the last month. They occurred during the day and during the nighttime hours. They occurred on Cedar Acres Road, Crystal Terrace, Oak Hill Lane, Highview, Old Barnabas, Woodfield, and in the parking lot of a Bradley Road residence, Bradley Road business. We had a total of 143 calls between medical assistance and mental health related. one stolen motor vehicle that was taken during the daytime hours from a Broadway Road commercial parking lot was recovered the next day in Haven. And we had 2 other vehicles that were tampered with, for someone tried to gain access to that. As far as arrests go, some arrests made by our personnel, criminal arrests made by our personnel during the past month, included on September 11th. Arrest warrants were served on 2 suspects who were responsible for an October 2023 residential burglary that occurred on Sonia Road. In the middle of the month, a patrol made an arrest for disorderly conduct after the response to a dispute at a residence. On the 23rd, they served an arrest warrant on a resident responsible for falsely reporting an incident and threatening that occurred earlier in the month. And on the 30th, officers responded to a residence on a report of an unwanted person. The patrol officers subsequently located the suspect as he was trying to flee the area, and following her investigation, he was arrested for trespassing and stalking charges. As far as the investigative services unit goes, they assumed 15 new investigations during the month of September, some of which included processing stolen vehicles for evidence. In one of those cases already they were able to identify a suspect responsible for that and have submitted an arrest warrant. They assisted the patrol, and the Detective Bureau assisted personnel from the DEA and the U.S. Postal Service and the Connecticut Violent Crimes Task Force in a narcotics investigation at a residence in town, during which a large quantity of narcotics was seized and 3 arrests were made. ISU processed the scene and assumed the investigation of that commercial burglary that I just mentioned. They assisted the SRO on 2 investigations, one involving a possible threat that ended up being unfounded, and they were instrumental in coordinating the interoperability of our license plate readers with motor vehicle and collect, and with the law enforcement agencies in our surrounding town. Additionally, they conducted 15 public fingerprinting requests and performed background investigations for 3 pistol permit applicants. And that's the criminal side of activity, and the deputy will fill you in on the motor vehicle side.
So during the month of September, our officers conducted 98 traffic stops during the month as compared to 99 in August. There were 328 different radar speed enforcement assignments that our officers participated in, including 321 deterrent traffic safety patrols. During the month of September, there were 28 motor vehicle accidents, which is a 40% increase from August. And our speed trailer was located on Ansonia Road, Baldwin Road, Beecher Road, Center Road, and North Pease Road, all areas where we've received complaints.
So that's all for
I
me.
just want to go back quickly to one thing during your report, Chief. One of the things I'm noticing on the monthly statistics is, for the most part, year-to-year variation, month-to-month variation is not so significant in most, almost all categories. But I do note that larceny from motor vehicles, although it's small numbers, is a dramatic difference from last year to this year. And I know in the past, one of the things that there's always been a reminder to citizens to be sure to lock your car in your driveway, things like that. Is there anything else that that we can be doing on this issue, or?
Yeah, so we continue to stress to the residents about locking their cars, and as you mentioned, in that monthly report that we come out with, and then also through social media, we've been sending out reminders with that. And then when I get into my report, I'll talk about the one of the topics I have on
second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Thank you.
So now we'll move on to the chief's report.
Okay, the first topic that I had was to let you know that one of our capital projects for fiscal year '24 was the replacement and upgrading of all of our mobile data terminals that are located in the patrol vehicles. You might recall our previous MDTs were all at the end of life and no longer supported by warranty. Using a state of Connecticut bid contract pricing, we purchased all new Panasonic Win 11 Pro MDT devices. Those were all re-imaged with the software and they were recently installed and are operational throughout our fleet. So that's one project from the past year that's all done. The next item I had was to let you know, recently the Connecticut Department of Health updated their emergency medical services guidelines and protocols. So now they allow emergency medical responders to administer epinephrine when responding to medical emergencies involving allergic reactions. So prior to this change, the administration of epinephrine was only permitted for those trained as EMT or higher. So as first responders for all medical emergencies in town, our personnel are all certified as EMRs, emergency medical responders. During the past week, they all attended training that was given by instructors from the American Medical Response in conjunction with the Yale New Haven Center for Emergency Medical Services. That's our sponsor hospital that we take all our direction from. And they learned how to administer epinephrine during an anaphylactic emergency. So we're finishing up with the final logistics on that, and soon it'll be deployed in all of our patrol vehicles for implementation. So that's should be helpful, you know, as first responders to get that available as soon as possible if we happen to get there before the medic. So the next topic I had was this AAIR joint exercise. So in coordination with the dispatch committee and the town's dispatch consultant, the police department and the fire department together are planning for a joint mass casualty type training exercise. So our goal is to use the training to enhance the integration between the police, fire, telecommunications, which would be our dispatchers, and EMS during these critical incidents to improve the safety and survivability of victims. Last month, from our police and fire departments, personnel participated in a 4-day regional active assailant and integrated response training program that was conducted by the state police. So this joint exercise will be scheduled at a future date, and we'll keep you informed exactly when that's going to be. But the planning for that has just begun. And next month, and as we've done for the past several years, I'll be allowing our officers and dispatchers to participate in the No Shave November annual fundraiser to raise support for cancer prevention and research and education. Again, this year, it'll be in conjunction with the Connecticut Cancer Foundation to benefit Connecticut cancer patients. As always, the guys will be reminded to maintain a neat professional appearance, and I wish them the best of luck for another successful year with their fundraising efforts for such a worthy cause. And the last item I had pertains to stolen vehicles and some regional efforts that we're participating in. This has to do with, kind of ties in with Commissioner Scalcar's last remarks about larcenies from vehicles. So over the past several months, our town and other surrounding communities have been experiencing numerous stolen vehicles, larcenies from parked cars, and often other more serious offenses. What we're finding is that cars stolen from one town or city are then being used to conduct illegal activity in other nearby towns and cities. And very often they're being committed by younger individuals and juveniles, and they're committing their crimes across multiple jurisdictions. It's like a little crime spree. So the police chiefs from our neighboring communities and members of this Connecticut State Police, we recently met and discussed, how together we might be able to best address the problem, because it's been challenging for all of us, and coupled with the fact that we're all dealing with manpower and staffing shortage issues. So as a result, we agreed to work together to address the issue and form a regional stolen car task force that participate and will collaborate, participate on a part-time basis. So it's not an everyday thing, it might be once a week, and depending on what intelligence they have and what's going on. We've already coordinated and implemented a similar type approach to combat illegal street takeovers by large groups of people on ATVs and dirt bikes, because they too cross town lines, and we've been involved with that too on a part-time basis with the same group of local agencies. So currently and moving forward, we'll be working closely with our surrounding law enforcement partners in this new approach as it relates to stolen vehicles and the commission of all those other crimes that are associated with that.
So you've been meeting with them on a weekly basis?
I'm sorry?
You'll be meeting with them how often?
They'll meet, the chiefs met, and we meet once a month anyway,
Okay.
at a minimum. But this joint task force will meet periodically throughout the month. They've been trying to do it on the weekend.
So are you having representatives? Who will actually be meeting for the joint task force? Will that be the chief or would you have a representative?
No, it'll be people from here that have volunteered to participate. Officers and deputies, whoever signs up.
What towns do you coordinate with?
New Haven, the state police, West Haven, I believe, Orange. There's multiple of them. Yeah, I think Meriden has been involved, and it involves also. It's a lot more, not so much chasing cars anymore. It's more intelligence gathering and watching surveillance cameras. They put up drones. New Haven has the technology Star Chase that they're able to. If you spot a car that's stolen, they could attach a device to it and be able to track it, stuff like that, without having to have a pursuit. So we're doing this work behind the scenes, and then trying to make an arrest towards the end of that. And I know, from what I've heard, the last 2 times that they went out, each time they've gotten several stolen motor vehicles already and several criminal arrests. So it's working out well, but there's a bunch of departments participating. All the local ones, they're the same. When we have a problem here, everybody else has the same problem. It's not the same night, it's the next night or shortly thereafter. So.
And so you haven't yet picked the volunteers who are going to be on the task force?
Yes, we put out an initial survey, and whoever wanted to sign up, signed up, yeah. And that's all I have for Mary.
Any further questions for the chief? If not, ask to approve the chief's report.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Thank you.
Personnel matters.
Okay, just one topic there for right now. At this point, we remain with the one officer that I reported out on a workman's comp related injury. He did recently undergo a surgical procedure, and at this point his return to work day remains uncertain pending his next medical evaluation, which is coming up in the next week or 2. So we'll keep you posted on that. And that's obviously in addition to the vacancies that we spoke about last month. And that's all I have under personnel.
You can go right to new business.
Thank you. So on the new business side of things, Chief, if you could help us all understand how the police and your team are thinking about supporting the upcoming election, since this will be our last meeting.
Yeah, so we're all prepared for the upcoming election. We've been in touch with the town clerk and the registrars and remain in close contact with them. Operationally, all of our staff has been made aware of the early voting that started today, and that's going on at Town Hall. And on election day, we'll have additional personnel on duty throughout the day and the evening, from the start of the polls until the close. And they'll be in and about the polling area for both security purposes and traffic safety purposes. And as always, we remain in close contact with our law enforcement partners, municipally, but also on the state and federal levels, and that also includes situational awareness reports from the Connecticut Intelligence Center. So if they have any information of something that's brewing or something that just happened somewhere else, they get that out to everyone promptly. And if we hear of any incidents or concerns with that, we'll adjust our plans accordingly to deal with it. But right now, I think we're all set. And then on the October 31st, the fire department will be holding their annual truck or treat. We talked about that at last month's meeting, and they're going to host that on Meeting House Lane this year due to the construction at the firehouse. And in conjunction with that, we're going to make sure that people that want to participate in early voting into the evening, that night they'll have access to the town hall. They'll be able to enter from the Meeting House entrance of the Center Road entrance to Meeting House Lane. That'll remain accessible, and the parking spaces will remain accessible throughout the designated time that they can vote. So the truck or treat event won't impede that.
So the truck or treat, most of Meeting House Lane will be closed on the 31st from 4 to 9, I think.
Yeah, those are the approximate times, yes.
And Tuesdays and Thursdays, starting today for the 2 weeks, will be late early voting until, it's ordinarily from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., but
Yeah,
Tuesdays and
yeah, till 8
Thursdays
p.m.
until 8 p.m.
Correct.
It was actually 10 to 6,
10 to 6.
and then, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll make sure that that's accessible, and there won't be any problem.
And will there be any signage so that there's no confusion on that day? Or?
I believe so. We had that, they're gonna finalize the plans with everyone involved, but we did meet with the registrars, and they're gonna have signs and cones and
So we're all coordinated.
stuff like that. Yeah, it's all
Great.
Public Works. Yep.
And for actual election day, you mentioned that you'll have a little bit more staffing than usual, if I
Yeah,
heard.
we're going to put on additional personnel, but I wouldn't want to discuss about exactly the specific logistics of that or how many and where they're going to be, but they'll be inside and outside, and we'll have it all covered.
Great.
So,
Thank you, Chief. Any further questions on the preparation for voting?
So I don't know who did the marking today, but it was very well marked. It was clear. At one point, the street where the high school is was
Oh, the
blocked
school
off because there was
resource
some
officer.
construction. But it was clear that you had to go around, and the signs were there, and the parking
Yeah, they've
was
been
fine.
preparing for a while,
It was-
the registrars and all
It
that.
went very off without a hitch.
And I also heard there was a lot of people
Yeah.
did
I had to
voting
make
first
it
day.
first.
That- that- yeah,
First
that's
trip in line, there were too
Yeah.
many people. And when I went back, it was fine,
Great.
5 minutes.
Anything further for the police commission meeting? Otherwise, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. So moved.
Andy?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we are now out of the police commission meeting, and I'd like to open the next session to the Woodbridge Traffic Authority. Is there anybody here for public comment?
Should I stay here or move up to the table? What's the
Please
normal
move
drill?
up to the table,
All
join
right.
us. If you just let us all know your name and address, please.
Sure. Good evening. My name is James Horwitz, HORWITZ, 24 Oak Hill Lane, here in Woodbridge, and been a resident in Woodbridge for 30 plus years. And what drew my attention tonight was the next matter that you have on your agenda, which is the North Pease Road traffic calming. And as some of you may know, I requested that I sent a note to some of you, I believe, about traffic calming measures on Oak Hill Lane. And in the reason why my wife and I requested the traffic calming measures on Oak Hill Lane was we live right at the corner of Oak Hill and Highview. And at that corner, and from that corner, you can see people really flying down and up Oak Hill Lane. And it's a quiet street. Unfortunately, it's used as a cut-through street from Rimmon up to Beecher Road, and it has just gotten much worse over the years, the speed with which cars come and go. And what's particularly challenging about the cars coming and going so fast is was actually about 30 years ago, 25 years ago, that we had requested some stop signs, and there was some discussion then, and if you went back to the minutes, I'm sure my name would appear there too. But we were very grateful that the stop signs were put in, and for a very long time the stop signs did seem to deter people from using Oak Hill Lane as a cut through, and it slowed people down. But I think as time has gone on, between the high school kids flying off to school, the people cutting through Oak Hill Lane, the people rushing to and from work, let's see if I can get my car up to 45 or 50, whatever it is. They come through quickly, and the stop signs really mean nothing at all. Over the years, the neighborhood has remained a neighborhood with young people, and in particular, I know that the house where you were reporting that there was the burglary was at the end of Highview, and that's a house where they have a 3-year-old child and a newborn. It's a physician who recently moved into the area, and they are out walking on the street. And they walk it down Highview and they turn onto Oak Hill, and the last thing that you want to have for anybody, regardless of who it is, but is for some incident to happen. And so it's for all of those reasons that we had requested that there be some traffic calming measures, in particular speed bumps or speed table, put in somewhere on Oak Hill Lane. And I just wanted to thank you and your team for making arrangements for the radar that was put out there, and I guess there was some data that was collected, and we're just hopeful that the process keeps on moving to get some traffic calming measures there. I was particularly interested in your earlier comments at the prior meeting, Chief, where you were describing that there were 2 incidents. Now, Oak Hill and Highview is a dead-end street. And Oak Hill should be a quiet street, and yet there's a burglary, and I think you said a larceny on Oak Hill and Highview, and I can't help but think that as people speed up and down Oak Hill Lane, they see it as a street that you can easily get in of and easily get out of, that in addition to protecting the neighbors, protecting the quality of life, it can't also hurt to continue to make the neighborhood a safe neighborhood. And so anyway, I'm grateful to all of you for taking up this issue. I'm looking forward to seeing something there. I know that there are all kinds of studies about things that can be done, and I was looking them up today. I think a circle or whatever is probably a bigger kill than what we need for this neighborhood, but a speed bump or speed bumps, I think, would be wonderful. And just anecdotally, there was an article in the paper today about speed bumps in Boston. My daughter lives down in Maryland. They've got the speed bumps. I see them in the high school parking lot. They're all over New Haven. And so clearly police authorities and traffic authorities in New England, here, south of here, north of here, are recognizing their value in protecting the quality of life. So I just want to thank you all for your efforts, and look forward to seeing something in our neighborhood. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. So at the last meeting, Deputy Smith, who did the full report on the traffic studies that were done at North Pease, Oak Hill, Baldwin. is that information now accessible to the citizenry, or particularly the families that might have made requests?
Yeah, I have, I did a memorandum on each of the studies, so I could email whoever would like to see it. Did you get it, Mr. Harms?
I think it was forwarded to me by somebody, so I believe I did see it, but perhaps if you could,
Yeah.
I'm
of
happy to
course.
give you my
Yeah.
email and,
Yeah, after,
yeah,
perfect.
that's fine, thank you.
Okay.
But I think our discussion, just to sort of set the record straight, is I think we all appreciate your last point, that traffic calming measures, in particular speed bumps and speed humps, have become very much more accepted, both all over the place. In fact, I made the comment at the last meeting that they're in Manhattan now. So we're, as I understand it, as a newly returned person on the commission, that we're developing the criteria to help us understand when we do these studies, whether we need to do more than one period for a study, or whether a single one suffices to give sufficient data to be able to inform decision-making. And that actually brings us to the North Keys, which I think, based on your report at the last time in our decision-making, was to move forward with a specific
Yes.
measure there.
Yep, so I just want to follow up, that's what we put on the agenda, about the speed hump that was approved by the traffic authority at last month's meeting. A question came up about what the approximate cost involved with that was. So I reached out to Public Works Director, and he estimated that the cost for materials, labor, painting, signage for one speed hump would be in the range of $5,000 to $6,000. And just I wanted to share with you what he shared with me, that North Pease Road is slated to be milled and repaved next year, not this current construction season that for road construction's winding down now and paving, but for the fall of 2025. So he thought that was something that we might want to take into consideration, that would affect the speed hump. He said they have to do key cuts into the road before they put it in, so on and so forth. But that's something we could talk about. But moving forward, the deputy chief and I will be meeting with the traffic committee. They were instrumental in implementing and the speed bumps down on Landon Street, so they're very familiar with the, the matrix and all. So we're going to work with them. I let them know that it was approved, and we're going to meet with them to decide on the best location, most efficient spot to place the speed bump there moving forward. So once that's decided, I'll keep you updated.
So are you saying that it would be less expensive to install it later, or?
No, it'd be the same cost, or it might be a little bit more because prices go up. But what he was concerned about was that if you were to put one in now, next year at this time, they're gonna come through and mill the road and
Take it out.
grind it all
Take it out,
down.
put it back in.
And he thought that would affect it, so he said it's kind of like,
So we would have to put it in
Backwards.
twice?
well,
Just wait,
Yeah.
well, just do it next year.
So he's kind of suggesting that we wait until next year. At this point,
So-
I don't know if they're gonna get it in.
So
The
every
asphalt
time
season's
they,
gonna be closing pretty soon.
how often do they mill the roads?
He'd have to tell you that, but when they repave it sometimes to get the contour and everything correct. But with the cycle in town, it'll be many years before,
Okay.
it's probably many years since they did it last, and it'll be many years again before they do it too, so.
So it's a good window, is what you're saying.
Yeah, so we're moving forward with it, and we'll go from there, but it's, it's in the works. So I just wanted to update that. I know you asked about the cost, so I just wanted to get back to you on that. And that's all.
Well, it's not the only request we've had. I mean, we're getting more and more requests. I mean, Baldwin Road.
Long one, yeah.
And Baldwin Road is, when you talk, the concept is 46,000 cars going up and down that road every 8 days is
And
a
someone
real
going,
issue.
someone going 93 miles per hour.
you know, when they clock one at 93 miles an hour. So this is a problem where now it's manifested itself all over town. Just not North Pease Road. I mean, there are other roads. There are a lot of roads in town who are having the same problem. So I think we have to take a larger global view of this issue, and maybe we have to begin to set up a program where we say, you know, this is going to be a program that we're going to address, and there's going to be so many speed bumps put in a year. If we feel that's an effective way to control speed and to get some control over some of these roads, I mean, if that's the case, I think we have to consider it. I mean, we're gonna really have to consider it.
Speed humps
Yeah.
are very effective. You know, in Hamden, there's quite a few speed humps, and the one common denominator is that these speed humps should be put in on roads that are connecting one busy thoroughfare to another. They're not for a dead-end street. You know, if we're going to prioritize where we're going to put them, like Baldwin Road is a road that's connecting 34 to Ansonia. Johnson Road, it's a expressway from Derby Avenue to Woodfield. North Pease
North Pease
is you know,
Coming off
Amity Road.
Amity Road.
Like Mr. Horowitz was mentioning, Oak Hill is another cut through. So it's these cut through streets that are, you know, we should prioritize those streets because everyone wants a speed hump. We get other people, you know, talking about them on dead end streets and things of that sort, and they are effective. What
And
can
when
you
we
do
start
with it?
talking $6,000 a speed hump, okay, $6,000 a speed hump. You know, $6,000, you know, part of the problem we're having is that, as Chris has said on one budget review, we go through these budget meetings and we work out these budgets, and we're being constricted. We always have to come back with zero increases. We have a problem where, take a look at it, we have a situation where our fleets are gonna get too old. They're gonna be too old, and all of a sudden we have another crisis to replace. All of a sudden we find ourselves, as far as I can see, and I've been around a long time in this town, 65 years, it's crisis management. I mean, it's just getting to be crisis management. So I think we have to, some of these things have to get done, or else we're going to start to have some serious problems, some serious accidents. And, if speed bumps is a way to control the problem on some of these thoroughfares, we should allocate some money for speed bumps, and we have to talk to people at town hall and say, hey, look, if this is what it's going to take to resolve this problem, we don't have the money in our budget to do it because our budget's already been cut back. We're getting cut back on cars, we're getting cut back on our fleet, we're getting cut back here, look, we have to, and if this is what we have to do, then I think we should start getting a little vocal before we begin to have some serious accidents and people begin to get hurt. Because people aren't slowing down.
Yeah, speed humps are a quality of life issue for a lot of our residents.
People aren't slowing down.
And, if we're going to put our residents first, especially on some of these streets that we're talking about, I think they're vital.
Well, where does the 6,000 come from? The Public Works budget?
It'll have to, yeah.
Right.
It's not in our budget, it'll be a public works thing, yeah.
So you're talking about maybe developing a separate budget
Well,
item?
if it's gonna come from their budget, if they have a road, they have their budget to pave roads,
Right.
okay? So if they're gonna start making speed bumps, they're gonna take dollars away from something else, that's what's gonna end up happening. So maybe that road isn't gonna get paved, or that road is not gonna get paid for another 3 to 5 years.
So if it's coming from Public Works, who approves it? I know we voted for it at the last meeting.
Who approved?
So we voted in favor of this.
Yes.
So, but it's not coming from our budget, it's
No.
coming from Public Works, so do they?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it's coming from Public Works, that's a matter for the town hall. I know the first selectman is he's on board with the speed bump.
Yeah.
So, you know, him and the finance director, and we'll all work together to figure out where they're going to fund it from, but
What they would do is study, then we would vote on it, and then they would figure out how to budget it.
We already did that.
Right, I'm saying now they just figure out where the money comes from, that's up to the Board of Selectmen, I assume.
Yeah.
If we, in other words, if we need additional funds to come up with some of these things, and I know I know that our first selectman is in favor. He's, you know, this is one of his priorities. But, you know, so in order to move forward, if we gotta get we have to have some funding to say, okay, if we're gonna put in 10 speed bumps or 5 speed bumps, 5 speed bumps, $30,000. 10 speed bumps, $60,000. Well, you know, coming up with $60,000 in our budget right now in funds is not so easy. Tony's got to dig for that kind of money because we've been cutting everything, we're running everything very, very tight. So I think it's important that if that's the priority, then we have to make the request and say where we want them to go. If we want them to go in Oak Hill, we want them to go on Baldwin Road, we want them, now maybe in this case, it makes sense not to do. Look, if he's gonna put a road, if he's gonna redo that road, and he's gonna grind it all up, to spend $6,000 to put a speed bump in, which is only gonna be in there for a year, doesn't make too much sense. Put it somewhere else for now. But I don't see why we can't get going on this program. We have to get some discretionary funds made available to get some of these in and get it done. And let people know that we're doing it. And it's the people that are speeding, start hitting those bumps, speed bumps, they're the ones that are gonna know that we're serious about, you know, protecting our citizens and protecting our roads.
Well, I think, you know, I'm struck by you saying that where we want them to go, so it's not so much where we want them to go, I think it's where we need them to go, following the kind of data that we were given
Correct.
last month.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is not, I think it's a need, not a want. That's for sure.
So as we've watched over the last number of years, the acceptance of traffic calming that includes speed humps and speed bumps, both in Woodbridge and in the surrounding communities. What I'm curious is to see if all the other communities are having the same concerns from citizenry of people being a little too frisky on the road with speeding, and I'm confident that they're running into the same financial challenges that we are. So do we have any sense, and particularly since the task force who's been working on stolen vehicles, I understand that's a different topic, but I'm wondering if that becomes an opportunity to start to share some information between the bordering towns on how to address this problem, because it's clearly becoming more and more of an issue, and the solution is becoming clearer and clearer as both acceptable and effective.
yeah, I mean, I don't think speed humps isn't something that task force is really focused on right now, but I think we could all probably say that I think the speeding and traffic violations, with all that's been going on in the world and accountability and manpower and staffing, there's been a big change over the past few years as far as traffic violators go. There's an article in the paper today how fatalities are on the rise, so it all goes hand in hand, but yeah, it's a huge problem, it's hard to address, and to that end, just to follow up on Commissioner Esposito's, funding and all this is, next month I'll, report on the budget process starting, as we all know.
Well,
So it couldn't be a better time to
That's why I
vote
brought it
to
up.
support that, but there's, in a lot of the other needs that are going on, that you know, funding, we're desperate for some funding to move forward with a lot of different aspects of the department, including traffic safety. So,
If we have a road that has a car count of 40,000 cars, or more than 40,000 cars every 8 days, so what's that, 5,400, 5,800 cars a day? And we're, and what it really is a pass-through between to the Parkway. And man, it would seem to me that maybe we should talk to the state and say, hey, guys, is this a state road? This is a town road. It's not a state road. Now it's being used as a state road. Why don't you give us a hand putting in some speed bumps? Maybe the state could give us some money. And I'll tell you what, that's a road we should get done. That's a road we should get done. You know, and respond to some of the other requests we also have. And start a program and let's get going. That's it.
So would it make some sense for you, Chief, to meet with First Selectman and perhaps with Warren at Public Works to sort of sort this out, as, to your point, especially as we go into the budget season, where they're going to find the money is a different story, but at least this is the moment to put that all together in conversation and see what the priorities really are.
But I don't think we're talking about a large number of streets. I don't think we're talking about a large number of streets. I think there are certain streets that are just top priority, that really need, that really a speed hump would definitively enhance, you know, the residents' quality of life.
Well, can we come
And
up
if
with a
it-
list of those streets?
Yeah.
Let's come up with a list of
Yeah.
those streets.
And if- and
Put
once-
together a
yeah.
presentation, and what it's gonna take.
But I think
Exactly. And once there's well-marked signs, it's gonna serve a purpose. Because people are gonna, whether they have a new car or whatever, they're gonna see a well-marked sign that says speed hump, and the speed hump is well-marked, people are gonna slow down.
So the streets that are on this list, so we would, I assume it will include streets that we have not done studies on, so we would then have to do studies, we're not just going to,
Yeah, no, we should always
Put a
do
list.
traffic studies on, before we do anything, just to get some good data. But I think, you know, what we see, you know, from even our traffic accident data and things of that sort, we know where the cut-throughs are, we know where people are late for work and how they're getting to where they have to go. And those streets should be priorities.
there's a matrix that I know they use it for the Landon Street one, and they used it, we looked at a list. There's a matrix and it has a bunch of different variables, number, you know, the speed study that Deputy does, all that data, geographic data in the area, the number of accidents, past accident history, proximity to schools and churches and other establishments that are used a lot. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. So you know, we'll work on it moving forward.
Good. Any further discussion?
I just had one more comment on Baldwin Road. Baldwin Road splits, goes to 34, the light there, and where the daycare center is. But it also splits to the commuter parking lot, and it's right across where you have the exit going south on 15, and you get down and get the exit going north on 15. So where does that traffic go when it hits that, where's the majority of that traffic going when it hits that Y in the road? Is it going left, or is it staying straight and going to 34? Well, they both go to 34, but they just go to different,
Like left on
Areas.
Greenway or straight.
so that's,
That might be a place to do a traffic study, see if they're going up Green, you talking about Greenway? They're
Yeah.
going up Greenway there?
absolutely right. Because, again,
I'm
where are
sure
they going?
there's
Are they
a
going
great
Greenway
number
Road, or are
going
they
both-
going straight
both
to,
places, yeah.
straight through? I think we have to look at that. All right.
All right, we got our work cut out for us on this. You
Yeah, just an observation, and I appreciate you giving me a chance to speak a second time. But in terms of looking at traffic calming techniques and following up on the chief's comment, there are one program that I looked at had like 25 or 26 different traffic calming techniques using the variables that the chief was describing, and that speed bumps may be an effective technique where the traffic volume isn't so high. And for example, if you were to look at Edgewood Avenue in New Haven, where the traffic volume, presumably, I don't know if it's what Baldwin Road is, but they've got the street narrowing and getting wider, narrowing and getting wider. They have a couple of circles, and all of those are described traffic calming techniques. And so what might be good for Oak Hill Lane may be different for Baldwin Road, because I am sure, as busy as Oak Hill Lane is, we are not seeing 26,000 cars a week, for sure. But anyway, I just wanted to, since I had learned that in the course of preparing for today, I just wanted to share that observation with you.
Right. If there's no further discussion on the traffic calming issues and fees, then I will seek a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?